Exodus 17 and 16. For he said, because Yahweh have sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Call her Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakach Kradash, Shalom, and salutations and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, who I continue to learn this 100% true from. Shalom to the elder bishops and the elders, the prophets and the teachers and evangelists of Great Millstone, who I continue to learn this 100% true from. Yahabashan Yashai, Barakatham to all of you, the water for your sacrifices, and double honors to the elder apostles, if I didn't say that. Shalom also to the speckled bird, the confused face, the Akim and Akwaf, the Akim on the highways and byways, and last but not least, the elect. And I'm going to entitle this, Jacob's Trouble Begins and Will Start as of Now. And we are in a time that we have been talking about for many years, and now it's being shown all around the world. I have some videos, couple of videos, not a couple, but, how do you say, a collage of videos that I'm going to play. And I'm going to get some scriptures after that, but bear with me. And I'm not trying to entertain you with these videos. And fair use, 1976 Act, just in case. And just pay attention to what's going on out here. Let's do it.
Minnesota, the clash. Good evening. We do begin tonight with the breaking news, the chaos, the anger, the fear intensifying amid a surge of thousands of federal agents across Minnesota. The clashes, the tear gas, and now images tonight of workers being arrested at a Target store. Protesters and federal authorities clashing outside a federal building in St. Paul. Demonstrators setting off fireworks, authorities and firing tear gas into the crowd. Multiple people arrested. Tonight, video obtained by a local outlet, Bring Me the News it's called, showing DHS agents arresting 2 employees at a Target in Richfield, a state lawmaker now saying they are both U.S. citizens. And those disturbing images fueling much of this, Renee Good, the mother of 3 shot and killed in her SUV during an immigration crackdown. Tonight we have learned multiple federal prosecutors working out of Minnesota have now resigned amid pressure from the Trump administration, they say, to focus the shooting investigation on Renee Good and not the agent who shot her in the head. Tonight, President Trump now warning of a, quote, day of reckoning and retribution that it's coming over opposition to his immigration policies. ABC's Faith Abube leading us off tonight from Minneapolis.
Tonight, violent ICE operations escalating in the Twin Cities despite a lawsuit demanding they stop. Agents ripping a woman out of this vehicle. She tells them she's disabled. Agents also clashing with protesters and leading a man in shorts and a t-shirt away from a house. It's been nearly a week since ICE agent Jonathan Ross shot and killed Renee Good. The Department of Justice has called the killing justified and is not cooperating with state or local agencies on their investigation. And tonight, ABC News has learned that at least 4 federal prosecutors working out of Minnesota have resigned over concerns the department is focusing on investigating Renee Good, who the administration has called a domestic terrorist. On Monday, Minnesota and the Twin Cities filed lawsuits alleging agents were told to, quote, push the envelope of immigration enforcement tactics. President Trump responding to that lawsuit on Truth Social, writing, quote, Minnesota Democrats love the unrest that the anarchists and professional agitators are causing. End quote. Fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming. The ICE agents have been here since December. Video obtained by Bring Me the News shows agents arresting 2 workers at a Minnesota Target last week. A state law
going crazy out here, man.
Baker says they were U.S. citizens. Agents were first deployed to go after Minnesota's undocumented Somali immigrant population. President Trump has called Somalis garbage. And today, the Department of Homeland Security announcing they're revoking the temporary protected status for thousands of Somali refugees, ordering them to leave the country by March 17th. Secretary Noem declaring that conditions in Somalia have improved and allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is contrary to our national interests. Late today, President Trump went even further,
And we're also going to revoke the citizenship of any naturalized immigrant from Somalia or anywhere else who is convicted of defrauding our citizens.
We spoke with several Somali immigrants today, including this woman who told me she's a U.S. citizen.
They're supposed to go back by March 17th or leave the country. Why do you think that's a problem?
It's a problem because there's no place to go back there. I don't think so. It's not safe to go back right now.
And David.
All right, so I'm sorry. So let's get the next one.
There is
We're trying to get status. We got a Honduran here. We're trying to get status. That's fine. What's his name? One, two. I'm breaking. Open the door. Open it. Say last warning.
Nobody did. I'm not resisting. Cowards are here. Back up. I'm not resisting. You're not doing shit. Leave him alone. Put your arm behind your back. Hey, my girlfriend's right behind you. Give us a phone number. My girlfriend's right.
Yeah, man. This is It seems like Minnesota is like the ground zero for all chaos to break loose, not just here in Babylon, but the entire world. I mean, it's not the first place, but as far as for full throttle anarchy, just berserk out here, Minnesota is the stomping grounds right now.
America. People have been waiting for it to collapse for 100 years. They said it after Vietnam, after 9/11, after every war, every crisis, every headline. Yet every time the smoke clears, the flag is still standing. Why? Because this story isn't about luck or politics. It's about land. The kind of land that makes power almost impossible to lose. You can't build that. You can't copy that. You either have it or you don't. So let's break this down. Why America isn't just a superpower, it's the final one. And why every other nation, no matter how loud it roars,
Hear what he says? The final one. The final one.
is playing on harder mode. Because in this game, the map decides the winner. Long before the war even begins. Everyone keeps asking one question. Is America falling? You've heard it 100 times. The debt, the politics, the chaos. But history doesn't care about drama. It cares about land. And America's land was built differently. Every great empire had one thing, geography, on its side. Rome had the Mediterranean, Britain had the seas, and the United States? It got everything in one package. 2 giant oceans to guard it, rich soil to feed it, deep rivers to move everything across it, and no real enemies next door. While other countries fight to survive, America was born in peace, protected by water, fed by rivers, and shielded by mountains. It's not luck, it's design. A natural fortress sitting in the middle of the richest land on Earth. That's why no one has ever conquered it, and no one ever will. But what makes this...
That's a lie. I'm going to let it go. I was going to give you a script. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to let it finish out.
land so powerful? Let's open the map. To the east, the Atlantic. To the west, the Pacific. 2 oceans wider than any army could cross. They don't just protect America, they feed it. Every coast is filled with deep water ports, natural harbors that make trade easy and cheap. New York, Boston, Seattle, Los Angeles, these cities didn't just appear. The land itself built them. Then there's the inside, the Mississippi River system, the greatest transport network ever created by nature. It connects 31 states, moving food, fuel, and steel like blood through a body. It's so smooth, so flat, that a barge can move a ton of cargo for almost nothing. Most countries dream of rivers like these. America has thousands of miles of them, all connected. And when those rivers meet the Gulf of Mexico, they open straight into the global trade routes. No mountains blocking, no frozen ports, just open access to the world. That's not just good geography, that's a permanent advantage, because geography doesn't retire, it doesn't go bankrupt, it just keeps working. And that's where America's real story begins. Power doesn't start with money, it starts with food, because hungry nations can't build anything. America grows more food than it can eat. From the cornfields of Iowa to the plains of Kansas, the land is flat, rich, and endless. It's why the Midwest is called the world's breadbasket. It doesn't just feed Americans, it feeds allies. That means in war or peace, the U.S. can outlast anyone. No drought can starve it, no blockade can cut it off, no invasion can choke its supply lines. Add in oil from Texas, gas from Alaska, coal from Wyoming, and you get a nation that powers itself, literally. While other countries depend on imports, America can close its borders and still survive. That's a luxury almost no other nation has. Self-sufficiency is the greatest hidden weapon in history. It wins wars before they start, and it gives America something every empire dreams of: independence. That independence powers everything that comes next.
Which is coming to an end. This is it.
Every empire meets its rival, but every rival has a weakness, carved by its own land. China's trapped behind the Pacific. Its coastline is boxed in by Japan, Taiwan, and the Philippines. 80% of its oil comes through one narrow line, the Strait of Malacca. Block it, and China goes dark. Russia? Too flat. Too cold. Too far from everything that matters. Invaders have marched to Moscow twice because there's nothing to stop them. Its ports freeze half the year. Its trade routes run through enemies. Europe looks rich, but it's a patchwork of borders, languages, and egos. It can't fight as one. It can't grow as one. America.
So I just wanted to kind of play that real quick. Good information right there. Let's go to the next one.
People have...
I go to work. I'm close to retirement. I don't want to be here. But if I don't show up, that's even worse. It's unconscionable to not stand up and say this is wrong. This is part of democracy.
have special teams guys here with suppressors on their weapons.
Like silencers.
Yeah, we should not have why are you having silencers? These are just protesters. So they're doing things that their leadership is making decisions that are to instigate these people, and it's wrong.
I was crying like 10 minutes ago because this is just sad. Like, what is going on anymore? It's bad.
What is going on?
God, if I know. They're taking people who are innocent and have families and lives, and even if they aren't citizens, they still deserve, like, humanity. And a woman was shot, and she did not deserve that.
This is the neighbourhood where it happened. In fact, that just on the other side of that barricade is the spot where it happened. That barricade wasn't there this morning, and there's one there, there's another one down there. This whole area has been blocked off, not by the police. These are makeshift barricades that have been set up by locals and protesters. Now, this is just 4 blocks from the place 5 years ago where George Floyd, another Minnesota resident, was murdered by a police officer. The protests today haven't been anywhere near as big, but it certainly feels like it's just as tense, and we don't feel very welcome here at all. And you can see that sign there. It says, "Hey, press, you're pointing the cameras at the wrong people. Film the fascists." And of course, by the fascists, they are talking about the ICE agents, the Border Patrol, who are here in this city in numbers, have been. People here were warning that something was going to go wrong, and clearly yesterday it went very, very wrong.
I think we have to show up. We have to show up for our neighbors and our friends and the people we care about that live right next door to us or work with us, and show them that we care, that we're here with them, and we're all one people.
Shame! 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 Shame!
It does feel extremely tense, and that's, you've got to say, being pushed along by some of the most senior people in the country. Donald Trump sent out an extremely inflammatory message yesterday, essentially blaming Renee Nicole Good's death on herself. You've had the head of Border Patrol, Kristi Noem, calling her a domestic terrorist. Just in the last few hours, Vice President J.D. Vance said she'd been brainwashed by leftist ideology.
I can believe that her death is a tragedy, while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making and a tragedy of the far left, who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe, against our law enforcement officers.
The administration has really been pinning the blame for her death on Renee Nicole Good herself, and that's even before the investigation has begun. There's real concern from the state governor down that this will not be an open and a fair investigation.
And this is how civil war and martial law is going to take place. As I'm showing you these videos, you see what's going on in Babylon. You see what's happening out there. Let's get one more video.
Can America survive a full-scale invasion? In 250 years, no army has ever conquered the United States. Not one. The British tried, but failed. Japan bombed Hawaii and lost an empire. Every superpower since has looked at the map and realized the same thing. Invading America isn't war, it's suicide. But here's the question nobody ever asks. What if it actually happened? What if everything collapsed and America had to survive on its own? Could the US survive a full-scale invasion? Not on screens, but in reality. And what would that war actually look like? It almost never happens, but it has. The British did it in 1814. They burned Washington, D.C., the White House, the Capitol. The president ran. That's the only time in history a foreign army held the U.S. Capitol. Later, in 1916, Pancho Villa's men raided New Mexico, killed Americans, then vanished back across the border. Lastly, in 1942, Japan took 2 small frozen islands in Alaska. When the US finally retook them, the terrain killed almost as many men as the enemy did. And that's it. No one has ever conquered the mainland, because America is a nightmare to invade. Look at the map. 2 oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific. They're not just water, they're walls. The Pacific alone is 5,000 miles wide, a moving wall of storms, currents, and emptiness. Even superpowers choke on that distance. That's why Hitler never tried. That's why Japan only hit Hawaii. It's too far, too hard, too costly. During World War II, when the US tried the reverse, invading across the Pacific, it took 3 years, tens of thousands of ships, and entire floating cities of fuel. That's how impossible a trans-ocean invasion really is. Even modern militaries know the math. A single carrier group burns millions of gallons of fuel per week. Crossing 5,000 miles means weeks of exposure to satellites and subs. But say someone somehow made it. Beyond those oceans waits a land built like a fortress, not by generals, but by geology. Imagine an enemy fleet finally reaching the Pacific Northwest. They'd expect beaches, but they'd find cliffs. The Olympic Peninsula rises almost straight out of the ocean. No flat land, no easy landing zones. Storms slam the coast like artillery. Rain never stops. Some places get 12 feet a year. That's not weather, that's war. The coastline itself fights back. Sharp rock, hidden coves, shifting sandbars. That's why sailors called it the graveyard of the Pacific. Over 2,000 ships have vanished here, nearly 1 for every 3 miles of shore. Even today, the Columbia River Bar is so dangerous that pilots need a special license to cross it, and they still lose ships. One wrong swell, one gust too strong, gone. Behind that chaos lies another barrier, the coastal range. It's not tall, but it's close enough to the sea to trap clouds and crush dreams. Even the lighthouses, built to outlast centuries, have had to be rebuilt inland as the ocean eats the shore. So before invaders ever see a city, they'd be fighting rain, mud, and gravity. And beyond that, they'd meet a land that punishes armies long after the storm ends. Suppose they somehow land. Now comes the real enemy, the continent itself. Deserts, mountains, swamps, snow. Every mile different, every region hostile. The Rockies slice the West in half. The Mississippi floods its plains. The Appalachians twist the East into endless ridges. Each barrier splits armies and burns fuel. Even U.S. convoys need weeks to cross in peace. In war, it'd be hopeless. The Great Plains look flat, but they're open exposure, nowhere to hide from drones or jets. The deserts kill engines with heat. The winters break them with ice. Nature doesn't just slow invaders, it starves them. No refuel points, no factories, no friendly locals. Every state line becomes another front, and that's before you count the 330 million people already living here, most of them armed. Here's something no invader wants to hear. America has more guns than people. 390 million firearms, 120 for every 100 citizens. That's not an army. That's 50 million potential militias. From Maine to Montana, from Texas to Alaska, every home could be a stronghold. There are 15 million licensed hunters, more than most nations' militaries. That's why the Japanese Admiral Yamamoto supposedly said, "We could never invade America. Behind every blade of grass is a gun." Even if the US military fell back, the population wouldn't. They know their terrain. They stock ammo like winter food. It would become the largest. Can America?
This is why things are going to happen the way they are going to happen because Babylon is ready for war, not realizing that it's going to be the last time that they war. And Yahushua is going to end all these wars. All of these wars. Let's get some scriptures. This is 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3, and it reads, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. So you see, when Nero came up in the joint, came up on the screen saying that what was he saying? That they pretty much, the dude that killed that lady, the ICE officer that killed the lady he has immunity. So what that's what he said. He said something like, do not fear the people of Minnesota. Things are going to retribution or something like that is coming. But you know what I'm saying? He's promising peace when it's just going to be destruction coming. Because that's all that's left for Babylon is destruction. This is Isaiah 59:6, and it reads, their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hands. So you see what is going on out here. Everything is happening the way it's supposed to happen because it's prophecy. All praise to Yahweh Shah for that. Let's get another scripture. And I'm just running through these scriptures. I watched some of these videos. I watched these videos, and whatever precepts came to me that I searched out for, that's what what I'm giving you. This is Revelation 18 and 19, actually. And it reads, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, at last, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And this is what we are praying for, and this is what we know is coming. The downfall of this demonic, wicked place. This is wow, they're getting crazy out here, man. Minneapolis is like ground zero for everything to kind of go the way it's going. Second Esdras 15, I'm gonna start at 8. And it reads, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Because it's time for us to realize that we're about to go into we're not going to, but we are now in Jacob's trouble. This is the beginning of it. Like heavy, and it's showing, and there's nothing that we can do but build our faith to and pray that Yahweh and Yahweh Shai allows us to that he has salvation in Slovakia. This is jump down to verse 14, and it reads, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And when that happens, what are you women going to do? If a man is afraid, what are you women going to do? Because you can play tough now, but when ish hits the fan, if the men are afraid, who's going to protect you? This is Daniel 12:1. And at that time, Michael shall stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, which are the children of Israel, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that be found written in the book. What's that? In the book of life? Yes, sir. Revelation. And we're just moving right along. Revelation 3:5. And it reads, he that overcometh, listen to what Yahweh shall say. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment. And I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. And that time is coming soon. This is why we're going through what we're going through. Which brings me to this verse right here. Jeremiah 30:7. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. That he is who? That he is the elect men. That's who that he is. Deuteronomy 4:30. And it reads, for when thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to Yahweh thy power, and shalt be obedient unto his voice, for Yahweh thy power is a merciful power. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. So you got to pray to Yahweh Bashan Yahweh Shai. Because you're going to need, there's no one else that's going to help you. Only one that's going to be able to be there for you is Yahweh Bashan Yahweh Shai if you believe in him. This is Revelation 7:14, and it reads, and I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, these are they which came out of the great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Because we're going to need Yahweh Shai, man. Because this is it. This is it. This is the time that the elder apostles on down have been speaking about for many decades. And I'm going to end off with 2nd Esdras 16:71, and it reads, they shall be like madmen, sparing none. You see what's going on. That's why I showed you the videos the way I showed you. And then I showed you the videos about Babylon and the history of Babylon and what it's going to take to destroy this place, which is those nuclear missiles. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahweh. Woo! For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Abarak Desire, you're edified with the lesson. And, those videos were to get you to understand the time that we are in. And there's no denying it. And the scriptures were helping to help you to believe and understand the time that we're in, and also to build your faith. So with that, I'm going to say, Kol Halor Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Radash, Shalom and salutations and double honors again to the elder apostles of Great Millstone on down, and shalom to the elect. Babakusha, Babakusha, Abal, Babal, Shalom.